thank you all for joining us this morning. Lovely to see so many of you, and a huge thank you for supporting our work experience programme. My name's Elaine Cook and I'm the Careers Coordinator at Kingsbury Green Academy, and I oversee the administration of all the work experience placements. Joining me this morning also is Kath Young, Careers Leader from Kingsbury Green. Obviously, the purpose of this meeting is to run through why students don't from work experience, also highlight some of the information that we require in order for students to go out on placement. We will be recording. We'll send a copy out afterwards, along with the presentation you're about to see. So if you'd like to turn your camera off during the presentation, please feel free to. If you have any questions in the presentation, then please feel free to put in the chat box, and I will be able to answer at the end. Many thanks. So the aims for work experience are really to sort of develop our students' essential employability skills, so things like problem solving, listening, speaking, and also for them to have exposure to different employers and increase their confidence in networking whilst learning about different jobs and responsibilities within an organisation. We feel that it's a valuable experience for students to gain work experience, as it will increase their aspirations and also enhance their chances of seeking further routes into further education and direct employment. The expectations of the students, whilst on work experience, students are expected to sort of carry out work activities as if they're a young trainee within your organisation. Whilst your organisation, the students should be subject to the same sort of code of conduct that you would with any employer. So they are literally working with you along that. So I'm going to cover a few things that really are sort of paramount to the work experience for safety for the student and also safeguarding for yourselves. One thing that we do strongly ask, is a legal requirement for us, is that you have employer liability insurance. So if you're an existing employer, you should and have employees, then you'll have employer liability insurance, and work experience should be covered on that policy. So it might be just worth just double checking that. Obviously, if you don't currently require employer's liability insurance, then we would ask you to obviously speak with your insurer and see if you could take that as a sort of a week policy during that. What I do require from you is obviously a copy of your employer liability insurance that will be valid during the time that the student's with you. Another thing that we ask is that we receive a copy of a young person's risk assessment. I'm sure that you have risk assessments in place for your employers, so it'd be just a case of sort of having a look at that and making sure that it's adaptable for a student. If you have employed a young person on work experience in the last few years, then don't repeat your risk assessment if the new student has a similar level of maturity and understanding and no extra needs. Obviously, we're asking you to sort of look at the level of risk, so sort of low level risks, obviously if it's in an office, high risks if they're going to be sort of in a construction, agricultural, manufacturing setting, then obviously we need to sort of make some considerations. And obviously I will send this presentation slide across to you with this information, and there's links to the various health and safety executive websites. Working hours, obviously by law, young people must not work more than 8 hours. So I mean, in most settings, students are sort of working around sort of school hours, but they may well start slightly early. But yes, a maximum of sort of 8 hours a day, and obviously making sure that they have relevant comfort breaks. And also, if it's night working, then obviously they can't work between the hours of 11 PM and 7 AM by law. Again, training, consider how much training they'll need. Obviously, they're going to be sort of quite young and quiet when they come in. So obviously, it's sort of tailoring the induction and training sort of around them. On the first day, obviously, we would suggest sort of doing sort of a health and safety training, sort of, highlighting the risks and hazards around the workplace, explaining fire drill and sort of procedures that you have in place. Supervision, young pupils should be obviously supervised at all times, and obviously allowing sort of any additional support that they might need during the process, and ensure that you sort of communicated things like age limits, if there's equipment that they might be using, and make sure that they're supervised at all times. And the real one that I can't emphasize enough is obviously safeguarding. We recommend that where possible, you and your staff avoid being on your own with a young person or in an isolated environment. It's safeguarding the young person, it's also safeguarding yourselves. So where there is an unavoidable, you should make sure that you have one of the following safeguardings: that you've got written consent from a pupil's parent or carer. The school, we can obviously arrange that, or if you've got a valid enhanced DBS. Obviously there might be situations where you're travelling to and from a workplace, so it's just things like that to bear in mind. Obviously this goes, physical contact with young persons may be sometimes unavoidable, for example when you're showing them how to operate machinery or equipment, but we recommend that you try and keep that to a minimum. And if you've indicated that you're going to have one-to-one time with them, we contact, if there is that time, then obviously we will contact you to discuss this further. So things like transport to and from a placement. If a student discloses any information to you or a colleague whilst out on a placement that you've got concerns about, then please, do contact the school as soon as possible. Obviously, once they sort of come out of their comfort zone, they might sort of open up a conversation with you. So if it's something that you feel that's concerning or alarming, then please do contact the school as soon as possible. Further to this, it's essential that you ensure that you have an emergency contact details of the student on placement and the school contact. So if a student doesn't turn up for work experience, then you can reach, contact us or them yourselves. You should always understand that due to the student's relative inexperience in the workplace, they may be particularly vulnerable to anxiety and struggle to cope with the transition. So again, I think it's all self-explanatory, but we obviously just need to highlight these points to you and also, protect you and the students. If you want to sort of promote and share information about the work experience with the students, then all we ask is that you ask the student and the parent and also school if you want to sort of take photos or make a video of the experience and sort of share it on your sort of social media platforms or on your company websites. Again, it's just again safeguarding as well. So just covering sort of some eventualities. If a student is more than 30 minutes late to their placement and hasn't contacted you directly, then obviously please call the school as soon as possible. And obviously, again, if there's any accidents or incidents that involve the young person, please make the school aware. And again, if at any time you're dissatisfied with the student, then please contact the school before dismissal or to enable us to discuss and agree a best course of action. So obviously if things aren't working out, then obviously call us. We leave obviously if it's the local area, we'll probably come in and sort of have a chat with you and the client, you and the student, to sort of iron out any sort of indifferences. So evaluations, so during the work experience, a member of the work experience team or a teacher will contact you during the week to sort of obviously just check on how the student's progressing. We normally sort of contact you by phone to discuss how the student's getting on. We'll have a chat with you and also the students, and where possible, we will arrange a convenient time to actually physically come out and see you. During the work experience week, the students will have a diary to keep. I hope you can see that. It's a Barclays Life Skills little booklet that they will complete, and there's areas in there that, you know, we ask the employer to contact. It's sort of an assessment just to see how they're going on. And just another point to point out that, you know, students shouldn't be paid whilst on work experience. However, some employers may wish to assist with sort of travel or other expenses, but it's not expected or compulsory. Just some reminders for you, if they could be done by sort of the 30th of May. If I've confirmed a student's work experience placement with you, and I would have put in there about completing a health and safety form, Microsoft Teams form. If you haven't already, if I could just ask you just to complete that, and then send in, if you haven't already, the young person's risk assessment and a copy of your employer liability insurance. And again, if you've completed the health and safety form already and we've got any concerns, we will be in touch with you ahead of the work experience placement day, just to sort of talk through them. And obviously just thank you all for, you know, for taking on a work experience placement. Last year, 90% of our pupils achieved what they had wanted to from work experience, and 32% were offered additional experience such as part-time work, more work experience, or even the opportunity of an apprenticeship when they finished school in year 11. And 95% of them improved their essential skills, which is amazing. So the positive impact of doing work experience is second to none. And as I say, without your support, you know, it wouldn't happen. And these students, you know, we're prepping them for the future. These are our future employees. So thank you again. So I'll open it up now if anybody's got any questions.
Sorry, everyone, I've actually got just a quick clarification one. With regards to when the student doesn't turn up, we would normally contact the student first and then their parents. I just want to confirm that you're happy for us to continue to do that, or would you like us to contact you first of all?
If you want, yes, you can make contact with the parent and the student first, but obviously if you don't, you know, and also let the school know as well, so sort of a third conversation, that'd be great.
Yeah, no problem, thank you.
Again, if they phone in and they say they're not coming in for any reason, again, if you could let the school know as well, because obviously we monitor their attendance. If we don't hear from you, we assume that the student's there with you every day, but obviously if they don't turn up, please let us know. Thank you. Any other questions? As I say, we've recorded this presentation and I will send it out again with the slides and the recording to you at the end. But I hope, you know, that it's sort of clarified a few points if you've got, you know, any concerns.
One question I do have is there, can we have expectations of their clothing?
That's yes, I mean, obviously if your young person's had an interview with you, I think, you know, you can you know, stress to them. What we will do is ask the students to contact you a couple of weeks beforehand if they've not, I mean, obviously at the time when they've approached you for work experience, hopefully, you know, that you've clarified that with them. But if there is a dress code, then yes, certainly, you know, highlight that to the student. If you want to sort of drop me an email after this meeting with a dress code, then obviously we can reiterate that to the student now, so that at least they've got time, if they've got, you know, to make sure that they've got the appropriate clothing in their wardrobe. But yes, I mean, we do stress to them to dress appropriately for their work placement.
It's just obviously being in the hairdressing industry, I do worry. I've had in the past students coming in with very see-through leggings, and is it appropriate for us to send them home? Could we send them home, or is that going to be deemed as being you're being hard on them, like wrong?
Mrs. Young, can I pass that to you?
Yeah, of course. So I would say that if there is something where you feel it's an awkward conversation, then always call us first before having that conversation with the pupil. And then, because we might have there are sometimes some background information about the pupil that you guys don't need to know, and actually aren't allowed to know through our own protection policies for that pupil. So sometimes in situations like that, we think, oh, this could be a bit sensitive, just give us a quick call, because we'll be able to say, do you know what, thanks for calling us, we will have a chat with that pupil. Or we might say, no, it's absolutely fine, just tell them, like, it's not a problem. But I think if there's anything where you're not sure, definitely call us first. We do have the main phone number for the school, but also Elaine and we do have a work mobile, so we'll make sure that you've got that number as well, because sometimes you want to get through and it's tricky, so at least then you know you've got a direct mobile number as well that you can call for just a quick check-in. But yeah, I think definitely give us a call on a shout like that if you feel uncomfortable, or it could be a sensitive, like it's a personal comment. We have had that in the past, like you've already highlighted, and we have had it in other areas. And sometimes things like a crop top turns up, or just something that's not appropriate. And they don't mean, like, having had conversations with people like that before, they actually don't even, even though we've clarified what's right, so you know what the right appropriate clothing would be, and also there's a space on the application form for you to specify what they should wear, because it's what they wear all the time, and it's just what they're used to, and they see their friends wearing. They don't, some of them don't even realize it's inappropriate. So yeah, it's always worth giving us a call.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
thank you.
Does anybody else have any more questions?
Lunch breaks, because they're now industry, we kind of take a break as and when. For obviously them, are you expecting them an hour lunch break, half an hour lunch break?
I'm guessing sort of down to sort of how long they're working. I mean, I think we sort of said, you know, sort of if they're working sort of 8 to 4, then, you know, maybe they could sort of have a break sort of mid-morning for sort of 10-15 minutes, and sort of if it's a half an hour lunch break, then obviously if there isn't a set lunch break, then obviously sort of an appropriate sort of halfway through the day, then sort of maybe sort of ask them to go for a break, or you know, if there's a lull in what they're doing, then send them on the break. But yeah, I think just sort of play it by ear, but as long as they sort of get regular breaks, that would be great.
Okay, that's fine. And are we
sorry, can I, before you, sorry, I'm so sorry to interrupt, before you go on to the next question, just on that point, for some pupils, you know, they'd like to know like when that break is coming. So I think in the morning, if you can have an idea of when that break would be, that would help some pupils that maybe are feeling very nervous about the placement and kind of want a bit of a picture of what the schedule looks like for the day.
Yeah, okay, so that'll come in the induction of their day. Okay.
Brilliant.
And also for their lunch breaks, is it acceptable for them to leave the premises and to go into town, or? Because in my opinion, they're under our safeguarding from the hours of 9 till 5 or whatever. So how would that work?
Generally, as a rule of thumb, I think we've had students that sort of stay on site for their lunch. I mean, I think most employers, when they're filling out their forms, they'll say bring your own packed lunch, and you know, if there's a fridge or, you know, facilities on site. We try to sort of deter them going out on site. There have been occasions where students have been allowed to leave their setting, and then perhaps for whatever reason they've not turned up late, or they've come back late, or they've not turned up for the afternoon. So I think, you know, we will stress to them, that they will be, staying on site with you in your sort of, if you've got sort of a canteen area or an area where rest area, that they take their breaks there. And again, when you're doing your induction, you can highlight that to them, that this is where they'll be taking their lunch breaks.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would just reiterate on that point that when they have that break and the room that they're going in, just be aware of who else is using that room, and is there going to be a situation where they could be sat in there on their own, and then one other employee comes in on their own, not realizing their work experience, and then it's just the two of them together. And just be really aware for your own safeguarding, for the safeguarding of your other people, other employees, that there's somewhere that there's kind of a lot of movement going on, and there's more than one person, and just to protect yourselves with that. And if there is a situation where one of your organisations that you don't have anywhere suitable and they do need to go into town to get some lunch or something, then just contact us and we'll get in contact with the parents and make sure we have an agreement that from them that they're happy with that as well.
Okay, thank you. That's all I've got to ask, really.
No, thank you. Valuable questions, actually, and if probably answering for other employers as well. So thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Well, thank you very much again for joining us this morning. As I say, I will get this recording out to you. Again, you should have my email address by now. So if you've got any questions that you suddenly think of, once we've sort of ended this presentation, then do drop me an email and we'll get those answered for you. Okay, but again, huge thank you on behalf of myself and also Kingsbury Green Academy for supporting our careers programme. It is much appreciated, and hopefully the students will get something out of it, and you will also get something out of it as well. So brilliant, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you ever so much, and thank you, Elaine, for all the work that you've done kind of coordinating with all of you. And yeah, we really look forward to the week and taking some photos hopefully of the pupils with you and promoting your businesses and the opportunity that you've given them. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Well, have a lovely weekend, and obviously I will be in touch with you soon. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.